Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Melanie Harwood of Educate Global. And with me today for the Sustainable Schools Virtual Summit, I have Raheen with me. Now, Raheen is based in Pakistan, and she's going to tell us all about herself and what she's been doing and what schools can be doing about learning the SDGs. And you're all going to be saying, what are the SDGs? To anybody that's watching this or is listening to the podcast and doesn't know what SDG means, Raheen is going to tell you everything you need to know. Raheen, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Okay, so hello everybody. Hope all of you guys are doing well. I'm doing well, just so you know. And so I'd really love to first introduce myself. My name is Raheen. I am 13 years old, and I am a stand-up comedian, writer, aspiring entrepreneur, teacher, interviewer, and a theater actress. And I've done more than 500 interviews and sessions now. So I've done many of them over a period of 1 year. And the goal of my life is to empower everybody around me, cares of their race, religion, caste, or creed in any way possible. Right? So I've been focusing on the SDGs for the past year and a half, and I'm proud to say that I am the Sdg Ambassador for Youth for the Sdg Academy Pakistan. So I've been working, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert and I have a lot to learn, but I feel like sustainability, when it's taught in school, even if it is taught just in a sustainability in a mindful approach, just that, if that is taught, would be something so special. And when it is in the curriculum, automatically it is just thought to be very special and very important in anybody's life.
Raheen, tell me something. The school that you go to, what was the name of the teacher that started teaching you SDGs, the first teacher? Can you?
So it's so crazy. I never knew what the SDGs was until a year and a half ago. And my dad was like, I saw something. This is Sustainable Development Goals. Why don't you check it out tomorrow? So I am big on research. So I research on so many things. And, I research sometimes on weird things like American school lunches. I mean, that is not something to research about. But, I started researching on the SDGs, and I dug in, and I saw there's, this whole new world in front of me, in front of my eyes on my laptop screen. And um and I told to my dad, and said we have a lot of discussions. So then I started automatically connecting to people that were related to the SDGs. And then I have a lot of ideas that could be turned into businesses. And I think the kind of ideas that started coming to my head were all that were sustainable businesses. Even if small businesses are sustainable, I feel like that could make a very big impact, at least an influence in the community, if not, big impacts in the, economy. So yeah, that is how I started. But actually, when SDGs were taught in our school, when they were kind of like one class for the SDGs, I was the one who was teaching, not my teacher. So I took over, and I was like, you know what, I mean, I really would love to teach. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, I have like a presentation ready, should I like play it? And then I was playing it, and actually there were a few children that reached out to me later, and they were like, well, I would love to work on this SDG. And I'm like, okay, I connected them with the right people. So I feel like just being able to do that was something very special to me. Being the teacher for the SDGs in the class was very close to my heart. So yeah, I was basically the one who was spreading awareness amongst
So
my.
Raheen, is this now on all the walls of every classroom? Is every teacher now teaching the SDGs within every lesson?
So basically, I was recently part of a schooling system, basically that is like a chain of schools, hundreds actually of schools around my country. And I wouldn't necessarily want to name it, but when it was part of the syllabus in the curriculum, all schools taught that on the same day, and the same lesson was taught everywhere. Of course, everywhere except my campus. The teacher taught it, and I taught it in my campus.
Okay.
So basically, it is that even if children knew about the SDGs, the teacher was not an expert or did not do as much of a research that may actually be required. So all they were doing is that I'm naming the SDGs, you write it down, and we're not even going through, everything that is like a detail, or maybe the statistics. If not the statistics, I think just the video to be played is something that is important. And then again, I feel then it is very important for us just to understand how important the awareness is. When the children are questioning, the teacher should be, equipped with all the answers. If not the answers, then should be able to answer some of them. So that was something that I saw happening. And this is not taught in all schools. I have the privilege of going to one of the, top private schools of my country. And in the government schools, I tried asking people, they were like, what are the SDGs? We've never been taught about the SDGs. I am pretty sure the teachers don't know about the SDGs. And I feel like the most, a simple way to tell is that it's a set of 17 goals given by the United Nations for the betterment of the world. And they came after the Millennium Development Goals. So they're just sustainable development goals, working towards making the world a better place and a more sustainable place to live in. So yeah.
Raheen, I'm very lucky that with the Educate Global Climate Change teacher course that we launched, gosh, now 2020, we started on the 22nd of April 2019, and it's now developed into the Educate Global Awards for schools. And one of the teachers that first did the course, one of the very first, was a lady called Dr. Merrill Batchelder. And she is a teacher in Northumberland, Corbridge. Hello, Merrill. Dr. Merrill Batchelder, Corbridge Middle School up in Northumberland. And she went and did a teacher training with the UN. She was an Sdg Ambassador teacher. She got the badge, she went and did the training. And I was very, very lucky that one day I went to visit the school and I was allowed to sit in and watch a science lesson. And she incorporated the SDGs into every single lesson of her day. So she would ask the students, what part of the SDG, how does this fit in with the SDGs? And she had all the SDGs on a big board on the back of the classroom. And the children were saying, hang on, that's number 4, that's number 1. And she was asking them, well, why? Which one's missing? So they were thinking about the sustainable development goals in every single lesson. Every time they set foot in her classroom, they had no choice, but she would ask them, in this lesson, where are the SDGs? Where do the sustainable development goals fit in? How difficult would it be for us to get every single school in the world to teach the SDGs like that?
I feel like if we just set it as our goals, I think even just the two of us, we can do it. I mean, it isn't like the hardest thing of the world.
Yeah.
It takes time and the effort and the right connections. I mean, if you give me the task of my country, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do it because I have the right connections.
All
But
right.
it is a very difficult job when it comes to also, you told about, the teacher. It all now comes down to the teacher and how the teacher would tell about, the SDGs. If she's so annoyed about, okay, now we have to mention the SDGs in it,
No,
then
she
that's
loves
not
it.
the spirit of it. I feel like just being happy and jolly throughout the class is something that just needs to be there. And unfortunately, the schools I've been, it is not part of it. Very rarely you'd find teachers that are really jolly and happy and, very happy about what they're teaching and are actually,
So that's
content.
for a whole other summit that we should do. Teachers that are not
Yeah.
jolly, teachers that are not really enjoying being teachers. Raheen, I'm just having a think here. I wonder, we had a sustainable schools talk with a lady called Vasiliki Kiupi. And it's one of the talks previous to yours. And she is doing a research project with Imperial College London. and she's actually developed a sustainable development goal teaching toolkit, an assessment toolkit, so that you can, as a school, you can ask the children to complete these step by step, like a simple multiple choice questions. And then she can look at that, or the teacher can be trained to look at that and say, we're not really, the understanding is not there. So what she wants to do is that she wants to get research funding so that she can trial this in schools all over the world and then get this assessment toolkit into every school. Now, that might be a start for you and I, where we maybe somehow help Vasiliki Kiyupi to raise her research funding so that she can go and research a group of schools, maybe 5 to 10 schools, and to prove, to show with her PhD that, yes, if we teach the SDGs, we actually start raising awareness, we start achieving the core competences, digital skills, literacy skills, communication skills, not just with the children, but maybe with their communities as well. Maybe there should be some sort of an outreach as well, where the children go and have an SDG day in the community and get their
I'm already working on that.
Are you?
That's under working.
So you're on it already.
Is it a coincidence that exactly the research funding that she needs? Now, I know a few people that would want to invest. I wouldn't say necessarily into, they would want to fund, but they don't want to invest, and a few people would want to fund something that is related to the SDGs and is really making an impact. Okay. Now, if they think it's making an impact, I can, group those two up.
So let's do it.
Right.
Let's get on the blower. Let me get on the phone and get hold of Vasiliki and say, Vasiliki, you're going to have to go over to Pakistan. You've got to meet Raheen Fatima. She's on it. This kid she knows exactly how to do it. Raheen.
And as for the SDG day, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Yeah.
As for the SDG day, so basically the thing is that in, the main cities of, Pakistan, there's many things happening, and it's not just the SDGs, but even from like a business point of view, small businesses and incubation centers, they're all there, right? By the way, I'm actually the youngest incubated person, I'm pretty sure, in all of my country, because I was incubated at the age of 11 for my business idea.
No.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
Business idea.
Oh my God. So basically, I went in with an idea that told in that all children should have an opportunity to be themselves in front of the camera and should have a platform. Now that didn't get accepted because they said that you were too young and we can't literally just like have you in. So I was like, okay. And then that same day I met with another startup and I was like, oh, it's so interesting. And they are working on SDG 3, and that is good health for all. And they're working on providing healthcare services at your home with discounted prices. And I started working for them as their communication managers because, well, I'm good at communication.
From the age of 11.
Yes. And turns out the idea got into the cohort. It was the 6th cohort for the National Incubation Center, Islamabad. And the next thing I know, I'm the youngest incubated ever.
You're 11?
11 years old. I just turned 11.
That's amazing. You are amazing. That is brilliant. Well, I wish that I had some of your guts, Raheen, when I was 11. I was so timid. It took me years and years to be comfortable in my skin. But for you, it's just natural. Have you always been this confident?
True. I mean, it's always that I've been so, outgoing and talking to people and networking because, I mean, come on Facebook, I have like 5,000 friends and I keep deleting them and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad, but I have to add more. It's something that I have to do. And I've done so many collaborations that, I mean, hard to actually keep track of them. So I've been working for actually 2 years. So I have a career span of 2 years, and I've done so many things. And I work actually a lot through my theater acting on child abuse and on early age marriages, gender inequalities. So I work on all these things, all these SDGs, and I go to charity schools with children that honestly just want to learn. And I go and I explain these things and how to protect yourself from abuse through puppet plays and theater plays.
Raheen?
Am I not awesome?
Nah, I tell you what, you're very awesome, but I'm sure your mother and your dad tell you that all day, every day. What role have your parents played in your trajectory, in your pathway? Are your
I
parents very
feel
driven? Does your mother say you're gonna do this, you're gonna get on with it, or not?
so. Oh my God. So the thing is, first, I mean, they brought me into the world, and so my dad, and it's like very nice that I actually, would address to him as my publicist. So it's like when I have to, kind of pull off being cool, I'm like, I'll talk to my publicist and I'll let you know. That is like my text. And then I called my dad and I'm like, I just wrote that text. Oh my God. So actually, even on LinkedIn and on Facebook, his resume is that I am the manager. I am like more of a dadager, dad plus manager,
Yeah.
and the person assistant, also the publicist of Raheen Fatima. Now, due to many people knowing me, he's known as my publicist. He's known as my manager. Oh my God, you're Raheen's manager. And there's actually been times I'm like, you know what, I would address him very professionally by his name and everything. And at the end of the conversation, they know that also he's also my dad when I'm networking. And they're like, he's also your dad and also like your publicist? I'm like, yeah. I mean, that's like so cool, right?
That's brilliant. You
And my
know,
mom is my mom is so supportive, because so the thing is that when I started realizing that, oh my God, I'm actually getting famous and I've actually gotten so many followers, it does get to your head at some point, right? So I started throwing all those diva tantrums and I'm like, oh my God, brush my hair, I don't know, I need this and I need this. And she's always, it's like she gives me a look and then I stop doing that. But she's always, even at the, before this interview, she's like brushing my hair. She's like, why don't you go and wash your face? So all those things also happen to me. But I think it's just the love and the care and the support that goes into what I'm doing. And I feel like that's exactly why I am working on the love, care, and respect of all children on earth, which would lead us to peace. So I've been working with that initiative for a few months actually, and we've done a few global waves of love. We've done action days that we talk about, and a panel of international children come together and talk about how children should be loved, cared for, and respected, and how that is the thing that's going to lead us toward peace.
and how do you get all these things to happen? How do you manage to arrange all these events and get them to do these things that you want them to do?
um, it's just I with the conversations, and at times, the things I want to happen, I want them to happen. It's just I have to work my charm on it. I know why, I'm just so charmful.
Because
But
I'm a terrible bully. Yeah, I get professors saying to me, "Can you stop bullying me? I'll do what you want, but you have to now stop bullying me." And I said, "I want this. I want you to do this." And they say, "Look, please back away, Mel." And I'm like, "Okay, all right." But they
let
do.
me tell you like a recent event that just happened. So, it's when I get onto something I really wanted. So there's this organization, One Better World, and I just, got in contact with it. Now I was emailing them, I was texting them, I was texting people associated with it anyway. I'm like, I just want to be part of that. I don't know. And when I just want something, I really, really want it. So, and I told my dad, I'm like, I really want this. And I don't know why, but you need to get this. So he started texting and emailing people, and then turns out that they were like, okay, for God's sake,
Please.
please let's just do a meeting. And I had this panel interview, and it was for them letting me be part of them. And in my heart, I wanted to be part of an event that is later this year that had an opportunity to speak with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I wanted to speak with him for a very, very long time because my dad's like this, I don't know, I hate to say it, but a fanboy,
Yeah.
so to say. But yeah. And it turns out at the end of the interview, I'm like, oh my God, are they just gonna tell me something, or are they just gonna be making me like a part of the organization? And they told me, would you consider speaking at that event? And I'm like, let me think about it, and I'll let you know. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm speaking at that event that I wanted. So I feel like just something that a goal that you have in your heart, and then also consciously taking the steps that you have to take for that to accomplish. So I think I've come a long way from reading the Time magazines of the Dalai Lama, now inshallah speaking with him later this year.
So you're going to speak to him later this year?
Now I'm going to be speaking with him in a panel this year.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you're going to get to meet him. That's lovely, lovely.
Yes.
Now, where are you going to be seeing the SDGs developing in your school? What is the goal? What would you like to see? What would make the difference? Who do you need to get through to get this delivered and the teacher training delivered so that every teacher in your school is delivering these SDG lessons? Is it possible?
It is possible. And I know exactly the steps, but I feel like I need an organization maybe with me that would come along, because I've been wanting to do like an SDG awareness day for so long in my school. Our school is like the capital campus. It's a very big campus, and we've got so many people that are alumni and stuff. And let's just say we've got a good influence, on our community. And I've been wanting that we do some awareness sessions. So I've got so many people, even internationally, that are SDG experts. I know this one person that helped the UN, develop the SDGs.
What's
So
his
he's a
name?
big guy. I can't recall it. I'm going to connect you with him. I'm just going to give you his number. He told me to give it to anybody that I want. Yeah. And I've been wanting to do that. And I'm like, I know so many people, but yet I need to talk to my principal, and then she would talk to somebody, and then so goes on. But
So
if
the
you would want
system,
teacher trainings, then we need to talk to the director, or at least the regional director
yes.
of the chain of the schools.
So
And because
don't
it's a private school, so it's not the whole government thing to get done.
you, don't you think that if we presented this opportunity for them to work with Vasiliki Kiyupi of Imperial College London on this research project with the SDG assessment toolkit, don't you think that they'd possibly then allow us in?
I think yes, but even they would even want to like run a trial in one of their schools as to how it's like coming off. And
Right.
then of course it's like the parents is concerned as to what are you teaching, what is this, and then they have to run the awareness through all the community, and then I think it'll get through. But I feel like I'm very positive about this.
So if we put a pitch together, we need to put a like a bid, like a summary of what we're going to do. And we introduce them to Vasiliki Kiyupi, and we introduce them, we say, this is the Imperial College London, and we'd like to raise some funding for Vasiliki to work remotely with your school. She won't physically come into the school. She'll just send the school the assessment toolkit. And the teachers can then give that out. The children can answer this very simple step-by-step multiple choice questions, and then give it back to her, and then she can do an assessment, and then she can go back to your school and say, okay, this is where we're falling short. These are the SDGs that they know. These are the ones that they don't know. So let's put some focus into what should we do. Maybe Raheen can be doing a day on SDG 4 or SDG 5 or whatever one was the one that was the weakest link in the assessment toolkit. So,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what it's like.
Two things.
If a
Two
head
things,
teacher doesn't like it, it won't go in.
two things I want to say here.
Yeah.
I've worked with the head teacher, and we worked very closely. It is because when there is a certain day, like, International Girls' Day or International Women's Day, from all the professionals around the world, I would record a video, right, for our school, and then that could be posted. So, I mean, it's a big thing if an astronaut is saying and mentioning the school's name and, telling the importance of girls, right? So, I mean, that is something that I've been doing with my school. So, I'm in good relations. And now, the first thing I'd like to say is I'm also in contact with other schools, other school principals and chain of schools directors. So I know quite some people around the education of Pakistan. And some of them are very close friends of mine. We work together.
Maybe that would be the way to get in, Raheen. That would be.
Yes. Oh my God, you're so beautiful.
Or, or what we could do
Yeah.
is we could maybe approach a school that wants to be an Educate Global Awards school, and maybe they can do the Bronze Award, and then we can incorporate the SDG assessment with Vasiliki QUP with the Imperial College London, and then let's see if that will allow us in, because that might be a more, there might
Hmm.
be some more, there's some, because in that teacher training, there's gender and environment, children and climate change, cities and climate change, human health. So let's, maybe that would be, I think that would at least then the teachers would have some training,
Yeah.
and then they could deliver the assessment, and then we could look at the information and then say, right, this is what we need to be looking at, and maybe assist them to move forward.
Yeah.
There's
And
many
as for the
people.
pitch, and as for the pitch, when I pitched for the first time in my lifetime, and I prepared for it for like, I don't know, like 2, 3 days, I was said to be the greatest pitch that the panel has ever heard. And it's been mentioned a lot of times in the incubation center. So let's just say I would be like a good person to maybe pitch in.
Okay, so we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that.
Yeah.
What would you like if we could if I could wave a magic wand and you could get the SDG teachers in every school throughout Pakistan, what would you want to happen as a result of that? What do you think that would deliver?
I think it's just the idea of, I feel sustainable living sustainably, because I feel we need to be very mindful and we need to be very, very conscious when it comes to making our choices, and whether that be sustainable for the environment and sustainable even for us as individuals. Because I've had so many people, and it's such a funny story, I've had so many friends of mine and so many, people that I know, and they just throw away things on the street because they're not even thinking of it, and they don't know whether it's sustainable, and because they've never been taught. They see their parents do this, they see their grandparents do this, and this is how it's passed down. And actually, with my friends, they used to address me as the garbage lady, because if anybody near me would try to throw something on the ground, I'd literally just grab their hand and I'd be like, don't you dare do that. Give me, the juice box, or give me something. So by the end of the day, my bag would be full of so many wrappers and so many juice boxes and, muffin thingies, so many things. And my mom would be like, do you have to be the garbage lady of the school? Because I'll be like, you know what, I'll put it in my recycling bin. You don't throw it on the street. Nobody knows whether that will be collected or not. My garbage bin, yes, it will be collected. I go and throw it there. So even my friends, they, would annoy me that way. But I feel like just because those small things that I did now have turned into big initiatives and big campaigns and big, now I see organization and people that I'm working with, uh, has really changed the way that I would think, because I have been given so many opportunities in all my lifetime, and I feel like I've been lucky because just letting an 11-year-old open for your first ever show, it is not like the the best thing that you could do or the most safest thing that you could do. Well, it turned out amazing, just telling. But I feel like just being able to get so many opportunities, now I would want to give back those opportunities. And I feel like that is important, giving back.
So this is before we've had the lockdown now, so we haven't been able to have any music concerts and things like that. Now my daughter, we have a music festival here near where we live called the Goat Festival. And it's not, no, there aren't any goats. It's music festival. It's down. The pub is called the Goat, and then there's a field behind the pub, and then everybody camps out and they go and they listen. It's like a big little local music festival. So my daughter, we're sitting listening to the music, and I'm really enjoying it. And she says, "Oh, there's all this litter. These people, what are they doing?" And I think, what's she doing? The next minute, my daughter's up. She's gone. So what? She was 9, 10. And she's gone to the behind the bar and she says, "I need a bag. I need a bag." And the guy says, "What for?" She says, "To collect these people's litter, the rubbish all over the place." And she's walking around and the people are saying to her, "Are you being paid to do this?" She says, "No, you are all pigs. Give me this litter. This is disgusting," you know? And then she comes up to me. She says to me, "I've done 6 bags of litter." I said, "And what have you done?" She says, "And I've been given money. These people have paid me because they're so embarrassed that they're so disgusting." I said to her, I said, "Please, please don't do." And then she did it at school as well. So I think you and my daughter would get on very, very well. She's also 13. She's a skater kid. She likes going on her skateboard and skating. But she doesn't like technology. She's not like you. She doesn't like doing Zooms and things like that. She hates.
Well, I've been using Zoom since I think ever now, because I do so many Zoom meetings and I do so many StreamYard lives that I've just, I think, gotten used to it. Actually, you know what? I feel like just how, the generation right now is, the Gen Z or the Gen X, whatever you want to call it. We're just so politically vocal. We're just so woke, and it's all about being politically correct. Oh my God, that's not the thing. That's not how you address somebody, or, how things are working. I feel like we've really changed. And now, since advocating for leatherback turtles and talking about Greta Thunberg is a cool thing to do, I feel like we have got a long way to go. And we've come a long way as well. Because now, see, following Greta Thunberg on, Instagram, and, having Instagram accounts about leatherback turtles, and having Instagram accounts about climate change, and how young people, youth for climate, and there's so many pages, and there's so many fan accounts of those pages, and there's so many young girls and there's so many young boys that are coming together for the climate, and they're coming together for the environment, and also I would say the atmosphere that we provide for yet those to come. It's just amazing to see, and I think with the boost of social media, that has just boomed.
Do you think that if your school were to deliver a cross-curricular climate curriculum, if you had teachers that were certified climate change teachers, certified SDG competent teachers, if you had teachers that were certified carbon literacy teachers, and if you had the opportunity to do a course like a GCSE, like transition engineering, where you would be prepared to go in and transition a business towards sustainability, is that something that you would be interested in doing?
Oh my God, that's like my dream. That is something that oh my God, I love doing, because I work on, with all my businesses that I'm yet developing, and I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. I look for sustainability, and I've talked to many people, and I've helped developing many pitches as well. So I feel like a sustainable aspect has always been there, but studying this, oh my God, that's gonna be like fab.
So why don't we do that? Because that is what Educate Global is all about. We're all about upskilling teachers so that they can be extremely competent and confident and certified to be able to teach climate literacy, carbon literacy, transition engineering, because you're going to be the transformational leaders that are going to be changing our world very soon. So it's great that you have all the digital competences and the confidence, but you need more knowledge. You need to really know this subject inside out, back to front, top to bottom, every single angle, to be able to look at it. And then when you are running your own social entrepreneurships, that they are sustainable and that you are delivering. You can even be a consultant for a country, for a government, for a big industrial company or a business or even individuals, and say, I'm a transition engineer, I'm qualified, here's my training, I've been learning this in school, I've loved it so much, I've done it as a GCSE or an IBA, and I've now gone and done the degree in transition engineering, and I'm now, I'm a consultant that can help you transition your entire country towards sustainability, or I can transition your business towards sustainability, because we know if a business is not going to be sustainable in the future, no one's going to buy from it. They won't. So where do we get started? What's the next point? How do we get in touch with you? Have you filled in your form that I asked you to fill in for the Sustainable Schools Virtual Summit? Or must I send it to you so that we can have your bio and your website and all of your information?
I'm not sure. I'm going to check for that. But as for me, if anybody even seeing this or you would want to connect to me, I have my email. And well, I feel like just getting started, honestly, come to me with an idea or just maybe like anything that you'd want to build on. And I have, because I've got so many connections around the world with in my country and with sustainable experts. I feel maybe I would, if not be able to help you myself directly, then maybe connect you with somebody that would be able to.
Well, you're a very formidable 13-year-old. I'm very impressed, and I'm quite sure that if you say you're going to do it, you mean that you're going to do it. So I'm going to take you up on that offer. I'm going to hold you to it. And I've got your email, and I will send you the little link, the little Airtable form. Fill that in for me, and I'm going to build your page. And if anybody is listening to this or watching this talk and wants to get in touch with Raheen, please, all the information will be on her page. And if you're listening to this, if it's on the podcast, on the Sustainable Schools Virtual Summit podcast, then all of the information is in the information bar below. All of this is going to be transcribed, and you can read it, you can digest it, you can listen to it again a couple of times, and you can get in touch with us. Now, our email is support, SUPPORT, at educateglobal.org. That's EDUCCATEGLOBAL.org. And this is the first conversation that we've had with Raheen, and I'm quite sure we'll be having many, many more conversations, and we might just have to go over to Pakistan to go and see what she's achieving in the next 2, 3, 4 years, because it seems to me like she's got it going, and we've got to get some projects working with Vasiliki Kiyupi and Imperial College London and with Educate Global in these schools. And let's start delivering transition engineering and all of these amazing GCSEs and IBAs in all of the schools that you know. So we might as well get on with it, Raheen. We haven't got time. We need to do this super fast.
That is so true. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to meet Vasiliki and I need to do it like right now, because there's so many projects that I work on. There's so many things that I know. So I feel like we might actually be able to make Pakistan a very fully sustainable country, and then we can get on with the world.
Absolutely. I think we do Pakistan first, and then we spread it out. That's the exemplar for the world. We want to show everybody how it's done. And then everybody else will say, okay, they'll get quite jealous and say, well, look what they've done. I think we should do the same thing. Raheen, I want to thank you very, very much for joining me today. It's been fabulous speaking with you. You've made my day, honestly. It's fantastic. You're a bundle of energy. Lots and lots of lovely information. I love your confidence. I wish I had your confidence when I was 13 years old. I think you're probably going to end up being the Prime Minister or the President of Pakistan. So we'll all have to watch this space, everybody. But I think you're probably going to be the Minister of Education very soon, if we don't watch out. And I'd like to thank your dad, Ajay, who's your publicist. And I'd like to thank your mum for saying, oh my goodness, are you the bag lady here? Please don't be your school's bag lady. That's amazing. Thank you very much, Raheen, from me, Melanie Harwood. And we're all going to be seeing you on the other side. And if there's any information that you want about a sustainable school, give us a shout and we will have a follow-on with Raheen very, very soon to see what happened when we met and what happened afterwards. Thank you very much. Goodbye.